Let me explain the rules for MORPH, a 1 to 2 player strategy game available on Kickstarter at a price of your choice starting from September the 30th, 2025. Designed by Léandre Proust, illustrated by Olekzander Zahorulko, and published by Graham Editions. In this game, you'll combine cards from 2 different factions to create your deck, and then you battle your opponent until one of you runs out of cards, meaning your deck is empty. MORPH is a customizable game where you can repurpose your favorite cards by removing the artwork from inside of the card and insert it in a different one, thus changing its appearance and allowing you to reuse the cards from a game you no longer play with. These rules are an adapted version of MORPH, specifically designed for the starter pack. They allow you to play immediately with the contents of the box without any preparation or complex deck building. Unfold the game mats and place them either facing each other or side by side. For your first game, it is recommended to place the mats side by side so that they are orientated in the same direction for both players. Each player chooses 2 factions from the 4 available and shuffles together the 12 creature cards from each faction to form a 24 card deck, which is placed face down on their game mat. Each combination of 2 colors corresponds to a single Prodigy character, and the player representing that character takes this card and places it in its designated spot in front of them. Finally, draw 4 cards to form your starting hand. To determine who plays first, each player secretly selects a card from their hand and then reveals them simultaneously. The player whose card has the highest power value becomes the first player for the game. Cards revealed this way are placed in each player's mana zone, and then you immediately draw a card to replenish your hand, bringing it back to 4 cards. In case of a tie, the procedure is repeated until a winner is determined. The player who goes second receives a reduction of 1 mana for the first card that they summon during the game, regardless of the turn on which this first summon occurs. A game of MORPH is played in a series of alternating turns. During your turn, you must complete the 4 phases in order: mana, summoning, assault, and rest. The game ends when a player tries to draw a card but their deck is empty. This is because your cards represent both your creatures, your mana, and your life points. The player who manages to deplete their opponent's deck first will be the winner. During the mana phase, you must choose one of your cards from your hand and place it face down upright in your mana zone. These mana cards remain in play face down until the end of the game. At any point during the game, if you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, immediately draw a card and bring it back up to 4. Next, you can summon a creature from your hand to your battlefield, or activate your Prodigy's ability. When you summon a creature from your hand, pay its mana cost by tapping the cards in your mana pool to a 90-degree angle to indicate that they have been used. Place your creature face up on one of the 2 summoning lines, as close to the front as possible and next to any creature already present on that line. You can summon multiple creatures in the same turn, but you cannot have more than 4 creatures on a line for a total of 8 creatures. A summoned creature enters the game tapped at 90 degrees, which means it cannot attack this turn. Don't forget to apply its summoning effect if it has one. Then draw a card immediately to always have 4 cards in your hand. A Prodigy is a hero character you are playing, and it has its own unique Prodigy ability. You can activate this power during your turn by paying its mana cost as described previously, and by tapping the card 90 degrees to indicate that you have used it. Next, you move to the assault phase, during which only your creatures can attack. All of your untapped creatures must attack in a specific order, starting with those in the same row as your Prodigy, from the farthest to the closest, then those in the other line, also from farthest to closest. A creature always attacks the closest opposing creature in its line. Tap your creature card 90 degrees to indicate that it has attacked, and remember to apply any attack effects listed on the creature's card. When an opposing creature receives cumulative damage equal to or greater than its defense value during a single assault phase, it is destroyed and placed face up in its owner's discard pile. And a creature that is attacked never retaliates. If the destruction of a creature creates an empty space in a line, the creatures behind it move forward to fill the space. If there are no opposing creatures on the field, your creature attacks your opponent's deck directly. The opponent then discards as many cards from the top of the deck equal to the attack power of your creature. This attacking creature is immediately dissipated, meaning it is placed back into your deck. Once all of your creatures have attacked, untap all of your tapped cards, whether they are creatures, mana cards, or your Prodigy. Then it's your opponent's turn to play. The game ends immediately if a player is required to draw a card when their deck is empty. That player is then considered defeated. Are you playing solo? MORPH can be played against the Shadow, which simulates the role of an opponent. The rules in this video apply with a few modifications. You will always start the game, so there's no need to reveal a card to determine the first player. However, you still must choose one card from your hand to place in your mana zone to have one mana available before the game begins. The Shadow does not have a mana phase, and therefore never adds a card to its mana zone during this phase. At the start of its turn, it automatically gains 1 mana point for each card in your mana zone, plus 1 additional point for each creature in your battlefield. During its summon phase, the Shadow reveals cards from the top of its deck one by one and places them directly into play. The cards are placed first in the Prodigy line, then on the other lines alternatively, until the total mana cost of the revealed cards equals or exceeds its available mana. The creature that exceeds this cost is still summoned. All abilities of its creatures are activated automatically at the appropriate time, and if an ability contains the keyword may, it activates. The Shadow Prodigy is always inactive, and therefore its power cannot be used. Finally, the Shadow Assault phase proceeds as usual. All its upright creatures attack in their normal order, and if the Shadow is required to draw a card while their deck is empty during your turn, then the game ends immediately and you win. If it occurs during the Shadow's turn, it finishes resolving its assault phase before losing, unless the player is defeated by this final attack. At the end of the game, the number of cards remaining in your deck determines your level of victory, which you can then compare to the scoring chart in the game rules. Have fun playing.